Hello everyone, I'm back. I wanted to start this video off by first stating that I can't believe I'm back so soon. Now honestly, ever since I had my accident on Sunday, especially how bad things actually got, I felt like this would have been a stage where it would have took me around 2-3 weeks before I came back into YouTube properly and being able to make a video to you guys, where this is going to be a long take, me just talking directly to the camera while being able to think properly, speak properly, and not have any bad things that's going on in the background. Now unfortunately, ever since my accident, there are still quite a few negatives that I do need to talk about in regards to my health. I am currently suffering a concussion, so bear with me in this video. In my brain and in my mind, I feel much better now. Trust me when I say this, I feel well enough where I can come on camera and talk to you all, but in my brain I still get confused quite a bit, and I'll explain a bit more in detail about how this concussion's reacted to me and how personally I've been doing. But yeah, it's been a real bad couple of days in my life. Been a real bad couple of days just for doing anything. Of course, I went down to London to watch Newcastle play Brentford, and afterwards I was supposed to be going to Melbourne, Australia. Had the flights booked and everything, and it just hasn't happened. I've collapsed, and due to the fact that I've basically, when I regained consciousness, I've started spilling out quite a lot of blood. Now, because of the fact that I'm young, I'm healthy, I haven't got any previous medical conditions, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. I've got no reason why I should be collapsing in the middle of a tube station and for me to be spilling out blood. So straight away I've had to go, in the worst case scenario, to go to the hospital and get checked for stuff like cancer, to get checked for stuff like kidney failure, lung disease, just anything where it can have a serious life-ending situation for me. And as much as I don't want to obviously put that pressure on myself, the reality is I've got to go get checked. Australia, the trip to Brentford, bear in mind I could not even walk once that happened. I couldn't walk anywhere. Going into my accident, I don't know what it was. I felt perfect on the Saturday, but the second I woke up on the Sunday, I left my hotel, checked out, I felt awful. I was in a coach going down to London. I felt sick. There was a point where I was at Heathrow Airport where I basically went there to drop my bag off so I could go to the Brentford game and then come back to the airport afterwards. But I had to sit down in the toilet for like an hour because my mind was just all over the place. I felt so sick. And then when I got down to the tube station after I checked my bag into the bag storage, I just passed out. I felt like I was going to pass out, so I kind of went to the corner where I could basically rest. And the next thing I realised is that my head's on the ground and people were waking me up. And straight away, the second I was woken up, I just started spilling out loads of blood. That was quite concerning because straight away, I don't know what's happened. I don't know why it's happened. I don't know how it's happened. And that's one of the first unfortunate negatives I have to say about this. I don't know still what happened. Despite being A&E for 16 hours, despite being dealt with by doctors, I don't know why that's happened. I don't know what's happened to me, and that's a real concern because straight away, how do I know it's not going to happen again? Now, for me being in a situation, I've got to basically make sure I can look after myself. So when I'm recovering, I've got to make sure how can I protect myself, what do I need to do going forward, and how can I make sure this doesn't happen again. And the truth is, I don't have the answers to those questions. So all I could know is 2 weeks time I'll be up and about walking around and this just happens again. And the problem with especially a concussion, which we'll talk about in a bit, because of the fact that I fell backwards at the back of my head and quite a hard surface, if I continuously do that, I will suffer CTE, which then suffers my life, changes my life completely, and could, if I want to be as negative as possible, could potentially kill me. So the reality is, even though I'm fine now and I will recover from this concussion, the reality is, because of the fact I don't know what's happened to me, this could happen again. And if it does happen again, I continuously seem to fall on my head, then it gets quite dangerous. So let you know what's happened afterwards. So basically, people woke me up straight away. They were lovely, by the way. Everyone at Heathrow Airport, they were quite supportive. They came over straight away. Obviously, I was in quite a bad state. I was being sick everywhere. People weren't alarmed by it. They were coming over, making sure I was all right. The NHS came over straight away. They checked up on me. And it was quite humiliating, to say the least. I was getting wheeled around like I was Hector Salamanca. I couldn't walk at all. I felt extremely lightheaded. And it was just one of those where it was frustrating. It was so frustrating because I wanted to be at the Brentford game. I couldn't be there. I wanted to be in Australia. I couldn't be there. And it was quite upsetting, and it affects you quite a lot mentally because I wanted to see how Newcastle do. Of course, that Brentford game was so huge, and I had a chance to watch the highlights back yesterday for the first time, and it looked like it was a great game from Newcastle. Heavily dominated the first half. Nick Pope coming back into the team definitely looked like a game changer, and I'm so pleased Newcastle have got their side of things done. We just got to hope now that Manchester United actually go on to lose the FA Cup final. And we'll talk about that in a bit, by the way, because I wasn't impressed with what Man U fans have been saying about me during my recovery time. But basically, I got took up to a hospital called Headington A&E. So this is about 20 minutes up the road from London Heathrow. I got sent there in a taxi, and straight away I got sent in A&E. I went in there immediately to get blood tests, to get any form of test where it can basically check how my body is doing. Now, all my tests came back fine, which was a great thing. Straight away, I know I don't have cancer, I don't have lung disease, I don't have any kidney failure. I knew straight away that was a good sign. But also wasn't a good sign, because, well, if everything's spot up and fine, why did I collapse? Why did that happen in the first place? And that's just the thing that's got me quite a lot. I don't know what's happening, and I don't know how to deal with it. So because I didn't get that information, things just didn't go too well. Now, unfortunately, while I was in A&E, my temperature started to rise quite a bit. Basically, when I was sitting down, so whenever you're in A&E, by the way, when you have blood tests, when you have your different tests, you normally sit down for quite a long stretch of time. You normally wait about an hour. You do something, an hour, you do something, you wait quite a while. So during my waiting time, when Newcastle were playing, my temperature started to rise, and I felt awful, like actually awful. I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. I felt like I was going to be sick again, I'm going to pass out again. So as the night progressed, my temperature continuously rised, which got to a concern where I actually was being put through brain scans. So basically, they took me to this massive X-ray machine, which would check for CTE. So check the back of my brain, they check the front of my brain, make sure there's no bleeding. Which, again, results came back, no bleeding. However, I do have a concussion, basically. So that's why I'm wearing the sunglasses now. For example, I have quite a lot of symptoms because of a concussion. Most of them much better now, but the first one being is that light. I don't react well to light. I'm much better in darkness. When I'm out and about in the light, I feel quite lightheaded and I just feel sick. Some other things as well, I can't walk, basically. So every time I get a chance to walk, I can do it for a couple minutes or so, and then I need to stop. So if I'm walking out and about anyway, I just can't possibly do it. And the flight to Australia was never ever going to happen. Now, I'll explain the Emirates side of things a bit, how that was a nightmare as well, because of the flights being a disaster, and then basically just taking loads of money off me. But we'll get into that shortly. But it was impossible for me to do the flight. I couldn't do the flight now if I wanted to, never mind a couple of days ago when I was 100 times worse. It wasn't feasible. And as much as I don't want to admit it, I was going to put my hand up now at the start of the season. If I knew, let's say, I was going to pass out at some point and I couldn't make a particular trip abroad, what trip would I pick to miss? I would have picked Australia, to be honest. I wouldn't want the Champions League games. I wouldn't want it to be America. It's one of those ones where I wish it hasn't happened, but to be honest, it's happened kind of at the right time. If it was going to happen at any point during the year, I'm quite fortunate and lucky to be at a stage where, for me, as a Newcastle fan, and for me also in a business sense when I'm making YouTube videos, it came at a time where I've got time to afford to actually just step back and go, well, you know what, I can breathe now. It's the end of the season, I can rest. I don't have to worry about missing any potential huge matches, despite the Brentford game being so big. But it was one of those ones where I felt closure. I could walk away from it and go, well, you know what, time's on my side. I can recover my own terms. It's not a case where I've got to rush and get back to full health, where I'm not going to be that case. So that's a good thing in that aspect. But it's just a shame how things turned out, really. I wish things didn't happen that way. But I will say now, everything at A&E was spot on. If any of you have ever been at A&E before, now I was in there for about 16 hours. So I originally got discharged around 1 AM. But due to the fact that, of course, I was supposed to be going to Australia the night before, I had nowhere to stay. I live in Newcastle. It wasn't possible to get transport back that time. The hospital did allow me to stay until around 8 AM, where I just left my own terms and got the taxi back to Heathrow. But it was a case where I was in there 16 hours. You wouldn't believe some of the things I heard and seen in my own eyes at A&E. It is horrible, and I've got so much respect for anyone that works in there on a daily basis, anyone that works for the NHS, because I don't think you appreciate the NHS until you've actually been in a life-threatening situation, and when you actually rely on the hospital to basically save you. They've done so much work for me, they've done so much work for other people as well. I was actually sleeping in a room. It was a tiny little room, okay? There was like 4 massage beds in this room. Like one of those was my bed, and it was like obviously 3 other people in like one tiny room. It it's a horrible situation to be in for anyone. And I just want to say, whoever works at the NHS, anyone that works in medical services, they do so much work, and I don't think you realise until you're in one of those situations how much work they actually do. It was a horrible place to be in, but I got better. I hope we'll be able to get out, and even though I wasn't particularly well when I got out, I felt well enough to be able to get back home. Once I got back home, I rested straight away. And now to put Australia into context, so bear in mind I went to A&E about 4 p.m. or so on the Sunday. I stayed in there until 8 a.m. the next day, got a 1 hour taxi back to Heathrow, 3 hour train up to Newcastle, a taxi back home. I got back home at around, I don't know, 2 p.m. or so, rested for 4 hours, woke up at 6 p.m. By the time I woke up, my flight to Australia would have still landed 4 hours later. That's how long the flight was. I had absolutely no chance of getting on that flight. It wasn't possible for my health. And the scary part is, if I dared to even think about being discharged from A&E, going on the ambulance, and obviously going back to Heathrow Airport and getting that flight, the reality is, if I get ill again, I've got to quite literally get the Emirates to basically land the plane while I'm on it, which obviously will cost them thousands of pounds, ruin loads of people's holidays, and puts myself in a dangerous situation. A plane's probably the last part you want to be on when you're seriously ill, because if something happens, you haven't got the time to be on the ground and to get sorted. You've got to be, has to be quick. And it just wasn't a place where it was safe enough. And again, it was just pre-season fixtures. It wasn't a situation where I needed to put my life on the line. But now that's when I get into the Emirates, because they were an absolute wind-up, by the way. So I had a quick chance to call them up when I was in hospital. Bearing in mind my brain was bad. I wasn't able to speak properly. My head was just on a different planet. And I was basically talking through potential solutions because of the fact I was going to miss my flight. Now, to give you a bit of context going into this flight, so on the Emirates website, you can actually pay for basically insurance on your flight. So if you were in a serious accident, if you were in an emergency where you had to pull out of the flight, you basically claim for your money back. Now, that's exactly what I've done. Hello, I'm so sorry I can't make the flight. I had an accident at Heathrow Underground tube station. I can't get in this flight. What are my solutions? So we looked at potentially either cancelling the flight or rescheduling it. So in terms of rescheduling, I had no compensation at all. If I was to reschedule the flight, I had to pay exactly how much it would cost to change the flight. I had no extra benefit of buying the tickets. I had no compensation in terms of that. And for me to cancel the flight, so for me to cancel the flight, the Emirates would actually charge me £300 just to cancel the flight. Now, I would get the remainder of the money back, but I'm basically getting charged for £300 because I've had an accident. Now, I know for the Emirates, it's not their fault I've had an accident. They can't control what's happened to me, but at the same time, though, I've quite literally paid for insurance to ensure that, obviously, if something was to happen, I couldn't make the flight, and I'm still getting charged £300. I think that's just mental. I think that's inherently wrong. I don't agree with it at all, and it was just something that I wasn't really happy with, to be honest. But let's do something I'm sorting out in the background. I'll get it sorted as soon as possible. But obviously with a concussion, I haven't been able to go on the internet or just do anything, basically, guys. It's the same with all of you as well. I've had so many lovely comments from you over the past couple of days. I just haven't been able to reply to any of them. My head's been so bad. Whenever I use my phone, whether I do anything, my head just hurts. It just hasn't been possible where I've been able to go on and actually reply to this. But I'm now at that stage now where I can start to do that. So bear with me as I get back into the flow of things, as I get back to my normal health, and I get back into what I like to do, making YouTube videos and talk about Newcastle. And hopefully next week I'll potentially be back out and about. I'm at that stage in terms of videos where I can easily sit here now, record a video while I'm sat down, but the second I'm walking around and doing anything active, that's still when I'm not good. I'm not good at all. I want to give you a quick precaution going into next week. So I do have a few things planned, Newcastle. Obviously, quite a few things out and about that are potentially on. So I will be wearing, as much as I don't want to do it, and I promise this isn't a wind up or anything, but I would be wearing the Petr Cech helmet. So basically, because of the fact that I currently have a concussion, if I have an accident again, I fall over, straight away, I'm looking at a CT, I'm looking at further concussions, and that's when it gets quite serious and life-threatening. So as much as I don't want to be goofy and walking around with a Petr Cech helmet on, the reality is, would I want to wear that for a week or two and be fine, or would I want to not wear that, have an accident, and then I'm back in hospital again, and I'm wasting everyone's time, and I'm in a situation where I'll have a serious health condition. So yeah, when I'm out and about, when I'm feeling better, I will be wearing a helmet for a couple of weeks, but I'd rather do that than be seriously ill again. So hopefully I'll be back in the mend. In terms of videos coming up, expect Newcastle United news, expect me to be better. I'm not going to put a time frame on anything and try and force myself to get back, because I don't need the additional pressure and that unnecessary stress on myself. But I do feel much better now. I've been speaking to the camera now for around 15 minutes or so. I feel fine. I don't know how you guys take an impression out of me when I'm talking at the minute, but I do feel much better. I don't feel that confused. One of the worst things I've had with a concussion is just it's horrible. Basically, there's some symptoms where, let's say for example, I'm lying in my bedroom, my mum comes in the room, I see her at the door, the next second she almost like teleports across the room, like I see her somewhere else. It confuses me so much. When I was in the hospital, had nurses and doctors coming over, they touch me in the back or whatever, I jump straight away. I don't expect it. It takes me a few seconds, like time of delay to react to comments, to respond to people. It was just, I just felt a few seconds behind. I didn't feel good at all, and it was quite nasty to deal with. And again, it affected me quite a lot mentally. And then we talked about the Manchester United fans, because I basically put out a statement saying that, admittedly, I should have added context, but I said that I hope Man U lose the final. Now, obviously for us, if they lose the final, that means and all of you watching this video are going to Budapest next season. I want to go all these European trips, and that relies on Man U losing to Man City in the final. Now, Man U fans, for whatever reason, bearing in mind at this stage, I'm getting checked for cancer, I'm getting checked for horrible diseases. They're all jumping on me and just saying, oh, I hope you die, I hope you get cancer because I hope Man U losing the final. I mean, absolutely pathetic. What a bunch of losers, man. I was quite triggered a couple of days later. I had a chance to read through those comments. Like, my mind was frazzled at the time. I'm clearly unwell. I'm clearly in a situation where I'm not thinking straight. I'm not thinking about how people may interpret my tweets. I'm not thinking about how people are going to react to my posts. And Man U fans, I just took the opportunity to kind of kick me when I was down. So I wasn't happy with that. I wasn't happy with that at all. I wouldn't say that any of you were in hospital, so it doesn't give you the right to say that to me, does it? It's okay if you like me. It's okay if you dislike me. And I'm not here to basically dictate your opinion on me, but I just want to say now, you're all entitled to have your opinions on me, but it's because of you guys I'm in the situation that I'm now, and I do really appreciate all the support you gave me. It means the absolute world to me. There's nothing I love more than Newcastle United, and it's an absolute honour to be able to come out with these videos and just to enjoy my life, basically making these content. But unfortunately, obviously I have gotten to a serious incident. I haven't got the closure that I wanted. I don't know why it's happened. I don't know what's happened. I don't know if it's going to happen again. But I do know now, I'm recovering now, and that's all that matters. In the present, in this moment, is what's important, and I feel like I'm at a stage where I'm going to recover. I'm going to get back to my normal self, and it won't be long before you see me back out and about again. So I just want to come out with a video now, a bit of closure, just to you guys, make sure that everyone watching this video is aware of what's happened. Unfortunately, it's still not good, but I'm doing better. I'm doing well, and I feel like I'm at a stage now where I can start to produce videos again. I've been on here for quite a long time now, and I still feel fine. I don't feel like I'm going to be sick or anything like that. So I've definitely been pleased with my progression. My recovery time's been great. I've been happy how things have been going. Hopefully, things will continue to go on the mend, but I won't give you any more update videos unless something drastically changes in the wrong direction. So unless something bad happens to me health-wise, you won't see any more updates from this. You don't need to see any more updates from this. I'm doing well, and you'll see over my next few videos how I do in video. You'll see me recover as time goes on, and it won't be long before I have the sunglasses off, before I have the check helmet off, and I'll be back out and about doing my normal videos as if nothing has happened. And I'll be looking forward to Japan. Be going to Japan a couple of weeks, actually not a couple of weeks, sorry, a couple of months' time. And then we got back in the flow of things that way. But listen, Newcastle's season's more or less over and done with now. We've got a couple of final games in Australia, a chance to give some of their players, I guess, a little bit of game time. Obviously, European football is still on the cards, so the likes of Paul Durant, Matt Ritchie will stay at the club if we do actually get ourselves into Europe. It's a good time. It's a good time to be a Newcastle fan. Busy summer ahead, expecting a lot of signs to come in. And of course, when the news comes out, I'll be making those videos about it. But I just want to say one final time, thank you guys so much. I didn't mean for this video to be so long, but I just wanted to make it as clear as possible what has happened, what I've been through, how things have been going. And it's just been it's been a bad couple of days. It's not been nice at all. The loss I felt over the couple of days, physically and mentally, it was a lot. It did not feel good at all, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone to be in the situation I was in. It didn't feel good. And bearing in mind, I have a concussion now. I know for a fact that the concussion I have is definitely not the worst kind of concussion you have. I've got no bleed in my brain. I've got no CTE, and it's a case where I would say it's mild. I don't think I have a severe concussion where it's a case where you're lying in bed for weeks, where you've got to have the lights off, where you physically can't do anything for months on end. I don't feel I'm at a case. I feel like I'm at a case where it's happened, it's mild, I've been able to get over it, and it's just a case now where it's about being better. It's about getting back to my normal self, and hopefully after spending some time with the GP, we can figure out what's happened in the first place. So that's the one thing that it's upset me the most, is the fact of why it's happening. It should not be happening. I'm in a case where healthy wise I'm doing well. I'm doing well physically, and I shouldn't be at a case where I'm all of a sudden being ill all day and then passing out in a tube station and just coughing up blood. I shouldn't be doing that. I'm at an age where that shouldn't be happening. I'm at a level where I've got no medical history. I've got no health related issues where it just shouldn't be happening. I don't know why it's happening, and it worries me somewhat. It does scare me, I'm not gonna lie, but it is what it is. It is what it is, guys. But we move on from it. It's about all I've had to say. I will start to get back to all your comments. Thank you so much for all the support. It does mean the absolute world to me. You're back on it. And of course, in terms of those vlogs, if you see me in Japan in a couple of months, so I'll make sure I'm well for that. I'll get all my stuff sorted with the Emirates, get my refund back. But it's been a nasty couple of days, so I'm back. That's what I want to say in this video. I'm back now. I want to explain the situation. Hopefully, you've all got some closure, and I'll hopefully get my closure as well. But yeah, thank you so much for the comments. I'm doing much better now. Appreciate it. You all take care now, and I'll be back with videos sooner rather than later.